Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, FluentRise Podcast. Today's topic is something that can completely change the way you learn English. Tell me honestly, have you ever studied English grammar for hours, memorized vocabulary lists, watched countless videos, and ads stinked? But when it was finally time to speak, your mind suddenly became blank? You know the words. You understand English. But speaking, that feels difficult. If this sounds familiar, then today's episode is especially for you. Okay? Because today we are not going to learn English the traditional way. Today we are going to practice English through stories, and trust me, yep, stories can become one of the most powerful tools to improve your English speaking naturally. Short pause. Think about this. Yeah, when children learn their first language, do they begin with grammar books? No, they listen, they imagine, they follow stories. Again and again, that's how language starts becoming natural. So why should English be different? Today, I want to show you how stories can train your brain to think in English instead of translating every sentence. Okay, and throughout this episode, I want you to relax, no pressure, no exams, just listen, imagine, and speak with me. Can't ready? Let's begin. Pause. Imagine this. It is Monday morning. Your alarm rings. You open your eyes. Yeah, you look outside. The weather is cloudy. You check your phone. 7 missed notifications. You suddenly remember today is your first day at a new job. Your heart beats faster. You stand in front of the mirror and quietly say, today I will speak confidently. And now I want you to imagine that this story is happening to you, not someone else. In short pause, you get dressed, you leave your house, you enter a crowded bus. Everyone looks busy. Yeah, some people are scrolling on their phones, some are listening to music. You sit near the window, and then you notice someone sitting beside you. The person smiles and says, "Oh, good morning." Simple, easy. But suddenly your brain starts racing. Should I answer? What should I say? What if my English is wrong? And have you ever experienced this, that moment where you know the answer, but fear stops your words? Think about it. Now, listen carefully. The story continues. You take a deep breath and reply, "Huh? Good morning." You caseaware. The person smiles again, okyo, smiles again, then asks, "First day at work?" You answer, "Yo, yes. I'm a little nervous." The person laughs gently and says, "Ooh, that's normal. Everyone feels nervous on their first day." Suddenly, something changes. The conversation becomes easier. You say another sentence, then another, and before you realize, you're speaking. Not perfectly. But naturally, pause. This is the secret. You do not become fluent by waiting for perfect English. You become fluent by entering moments, stories create moments, and moments create language. That's why story practice works. When you listen to stories, your brain starts connecting words with emotions, actions, and situations. Instead of memorizing, nervous means worried, you feel nervous with the character. Instead of memorizing, confident means believing in yourself. You experience confidence in the story. Language becomes alive. Short pause. Now let's do a quick speaking exercise together. I'll say a sentence. You repeat it. Ready? I feel nervous. Pause. Again, I feel nervous. Now change it. I feel excited. Good. Now say, today is my first day. Excellent. Okay. Now combine them. Today is my first day and I feel excited. See what happened? You didn't study grammar. You used English. That is practice. Pause. Here's something important. Many English learners think, I need more vocabulary. But often, you need more experiences with English. Stories give you those experiences. You hear conversations, you imagine scenes, you remember emotions, and slowly speaking becomes easier. So here's your challenge for today. After this video, create your own tiny story. Just 3 sentences. Example, I woke up late, I missed my bus, but I still reached on time. Simple. Your story does not need perfect English, it only needs your voice. Think about it, and in the next part, I'll tell you another story, but this one will challenge you to think and answer in English while listening. And that's where the real speaking practice begins. Welcome back. If you're still here, that means you're ready for the next step. And this is where things become interesting because now I don't want you to just listen. I want you to participate. Remember, English speaking improves fastest when your mind starts creating answers automatically. So while listening to this story, I want you to imagine yourself inside it. And whenever I ask a question, pause the video if needed and answer out loud. Don't worry about mistakes. Yeah, just speak. Hekano, ready? Let's continue. Pause. Imagine this. It is Saturday afternoon. You decide to visit a small cafe in your city. Nothing special. Just a normal day. You enter. Okay. Soft music is playing. People are talking quietly. You order a coffee and sit near the window. Everything feels peaceful. Then suddenly you hear someone speaking English at the next table. You look for a second. Two people are having a casual conversation. You understand most of what they are saying, but then a thought appears in your mind. What if they talk to me? And immediately another thought comes. No. My English, is it good enough? Sound familiar? Short pause. You continue drinking your coffee, then something unexpected happens. One of them turns and smiles and asks, "Yo, excuse me, could you help us?" Your heart starts beating faster. You freeze. You know this feeling. Your mind suddenly forgets every English word you have ever learned. Paused. But wait. This is your moment. The person asks, "Do you know if there is a bookstore nearby?" Simple question. Now, before I continue, answer. What would you say? Pause. Maybe you said, "Oh, yes, there is one near the main road." Or maybe, I'm not sure, but I think there is one nearby. Perfect. Notice something? There isn't only one correct answer. Communication is not an exam. Communication is connection. Short pause. The story continues. Yeah, you answer, they smile, then they ask another question. "Oh, are you from this city?" You reply. "Okay, yes, I live here." Then they say, "I know, your English is really clear," and suddenly you feel surprised. Because in your mind, you thought your English was weak, but in reality, people understood you. Think about it. How many times have you stayed silent? And not because you couldn't speak, but because you thought you couldn't. That difference changes everything. Most people are waiting to become perfect before speaking, but speaking is exactly what helps you improve. Pause. Now let's do another practice. I'll ask questions, answer aloud. And question 1, what is your favorite place to relax? Pause. Question 2, if someone starts speaking English with you today, how would you introduce yourself? Pause. Question 3, what makes you nervous when speaking English? Pause. Good. Did you answer? Even if your answer was short, that counts because fluency grows one sentence at a time. Short pause. Now let me share something important. Many learners think English speaking means speaking fast. But real fluency means, understanding, responding, expressing yourself. Even simple English can sound confident. Listen, fast. I think maybe, I don't know, confident, I'm not sure, but I think, see the difference? Confidence sounds better than speed. Pause. Now imagine 6 months from today, you enter a cafe, someone speaks to you in English. And instead of panic, you smile, you answer naturally, not because your grammar became perfect, but because speaking became normal. And that change begins with small moments, small stories, small conversations, repeated every day. Think about it in the next part. I'm going to show you a story that teaches one hidden habit fluent speakers use every day without realizing it. And once you understand it, your speaking practice may feel completely different. Welcome back. So far, we've talked about something powerful, speaking through moments, not memorizing, not translating, but living the language. And now, I want to share something that many fluent English speakers do naturally. Most people never notice it. Echo. But once you understand it, your speaking practice can become much easier. Ready? Let's begin. Pause. Imagine this. You are walking home in the evening. The sky is changing colors. The day feels long. You are tired. And you take out your phone and suddenly you decide to do something different. No music, no scrolling, no videos. You simply start talking to yourself quietly in English. You say, today was busy. Then, I finished my work. Then, I'm hungry. I want something delicious. Simple sentences, nothing complicated. But something interesting starts happening. Okay, your brain stops searching for translations, words begin appearing faster, thoughts become smoother, and slowly, English starts feeling more natural. Short pause. This habit has a name, micro-speaking, small moments of speaking during normal life. Not 1 hour. Not perfect practice, just small conversations with yourself. And here's the truth. Many confident speakers build fluency this way. Think about it. Let's try it together. Imagine you just woke up. Say, good morning. Pause. Now continue. I slept well. Pause next. Today I want to have a productive day. Good. Okay. Now imagine you're making tea. Say, I'm boiling water. Pause. I'm preparing my drink. Pause. Simple? Exactly. English does not always begin with big conversations. It begins with ordinary life. Short pause. Now let me tell you another story. There was a student. Let's call him Alex. Alex studied English for years, grammar books, vocabulary notebooks, hours of videos. But when someone asked, how are you? He froze. He knew English, but he never used English. One day he changed one habit. Every evening for 10 minutes, he described his day in English. At first, he said things like, today was okay. Then, I worked and watched videos. Later, today I felt tired because I had too much work. Then, I learned something new and I felt proud. Sentence by sentence, he improved, not because he learned more rules. Because he created more speaking moments. Pause. Now ask yourself, how many English words do you already know? But never use? Maybe hundreds, maybe thousands. Imagine if those words started becoming conversations. That's when progress becomes visible. Think about it. Here's a quick challenge. Complete these sentences aloud. Number 1. Kite. Today, I feel... Pause. Number 2, right now I am. Pause. Number 3, tomorrow I want to. Pause. Excellent. No perfect answer needed. Just keep speaking. Short pause. Now let's go deeper. There's another reason stories help speaking. Stories create emotional memory. Think about your favorite movie. You remember lines, you remember scenes, you remember feelings. But you probably don't remember grammar rules. Why? Because emotions make language stick. That's why storytelling practice works. So from today, don't only study English, live small stories in English. Tell yourself what happened. What are you doing? What will happen next? Turn daily life into practice, pause, and here's today's mission. Before sleeping tonight, speak for 1 minute in English. Tell yourself, how was your day? What did you enjoy? What do you want tomorrow? 1 minute, that's all. Small actions repeated daily become confidence. Short pause. In the next part, I'll tell you a story where one simple conversation changes everything. And you'll practice responding in English in real time. That's where your confidence starts growing. Welcome back. If you've reached this point, you're doing something important. You're not just learning English, you're training yourself to think, react, and express ideas naturally. And now it's time for a different kind of story. This one is about confidence, because sometimes the biggest problem is not vocabulary, it's hesitation. Ready? Let's continue. Pause. Imagine this. You decide to join an online English-speaking group. You open the meeting. People from different countries are there. Yeah, some speak slowly, some speak confidently, some make mistakes and continue talking anyway. You stay quiet, camera off, microphone muted. You tell yourself, I'll speak later, 5 minutes pass, then 10, then 20, still silent. You okay? You know what you want to say, but something stops you, maybe fear, maybe overthinking. Maybe waiting for the perfect sentence, short pause, then suddenly the host says, "Oh, would anyone like to introduce themselves?" And your heart starts beating faster, you look around, nobody speaks, a few seconds pass, and then, without thinking too much, you unmute, you say, "Hello everyone, my name is Alex." Your voice feels strange, your hands feel nervous, but you continue, "I'm learning English because I want to communicate confidently." You stop and wait. Then something unexpected happens. People smile. Someone says, nice to meet you. Another person says, your English is good. And in that moment, you realize something. The fear in your head was bigger than the reality. Pause. Now think about this. How many opportunities do we lose because we wait to feel ready? And speaking confidence rarely comes before action. Usually, confidence appears after action. Think about it. Let's practice. Imagine someone asks, tell us about yourself. Answer out loud. Use simple English. Start like this. Hello, my name is... Pause, continue. I live in, pause then. One thing I enjoy is pause, very good. Notice you're speaking already. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, short pause. Let's continue the story. After introducing yourself, the host asks another question. What helps you stay motivated? Again, you hesitate, but this time you remember something. You do not need perfect English. You only need honest English. So you answer, I try to practice every day. Even small progress makes me happy. And suddenly, other people start sharing too. One says they watch movies, another says they read stories. Another says they speak alone in their room. Then you realize everyone is learning. Everyone feels nervous sometimes. Everyone starts somewhere. Pause. That realization changes everything because confidence grows faster when you stop comparing yourself. You don't need to speak like anyone else. You only need to speak more than yesterday. Think about it. Now, let's do a confidence exercise. Repeat after me. I do not need perfect English. Pause. Again, I can communicate with simple words. Pause. One more time. Every conversation helps me improve. Excellent. Keep these sentences, say them often, because your mindset affects your speaking more than you think. Short pause. Now imagine this. 1 year from now, you meet someone new. They ask, "Do you speak English?" And instead of saying, "My English is bad," you smile and say, "Yes, I'm improving every day." That sentence alone changes your energy. Pause. Before we end this part, I want to give you a small challenge. Today, introduce yourself in English, record your voice, 30 seconds, don't delete mistakes, listen, learn, try again tomorrow. That's growth. Short pause. In the next part, we'll enter the most interactive story yet, where you'll make decisions, answer questions, and practice speaking as the story unfolds. That's where your English starts becoming automatic. Welcome back. Now we're entering the part where everything comes together. Stories, thinking in English, confidence, speaking naturally this time. You are not only listening, you are the main character. And throughout this story, I want you to answer in English, short answers, simple answers, real answers. Ready? Let's begin. And pause. Imagine this. You wake up and see a message on your phone. It says, congratulations. You have been selected for a short international training program. You stare at the screen, excited, surprised. And then another thought appears. Everything will be in English. Immediately your mind starts creating questions. What if people talk too fast? What if I make mistakes? What if they judge me? But after a moment, you decide something. You say, I will go, short pause. A few days later, you arrive. And different people, different accents, different cultures. Everyone is introducing themselves. Your turn is coming. You take a breath. And now I want you to answer. The host says, please introduce yourself. Go ahead, say your introduction, pause. Good. Okay. Now someone smiles and asks, oh, what made you join this program? Answers, pause. Excellent. See, what's happening? You are creating language, not memorizing. Short pause. The session continues during lunch. You sit alone. Then someone comes and asks, yo, may I sit here? You smile. You say, oh, yes, of course. The person asks, yo, so what do you usually do in your free time? Now answer, speak naturally, pause, great. Okay. Notice you didn't need difficult vocabulary. Communication starts with simple ideas. Think about it. The conversation continues. Okay. The person says, yo, I want to improve my English too. You're surprised because their English sounds fluent. And you ask, really? And they laugh. Then they say something powerful. I stopped waiting to become confident. I started speaking before I felt ready. Pause. Read that again in your mind. I started speaking before I felt ready. That sentence changes everything. Many people think confident speaking, but often the real order is speaking, confidence, short pause. Now imagine the next activity. Everyone must share one small story. Your topic is, a moment that taught me something. You stand up, people are listening, your hands feel nervous. But you begin. Maybe your story sounds like this. One day I wanted to speak English, but I felt shy. Okay, then I realized mistakes are normal. Since then, I try to speak more simple, real, powerful, pause, and guess what? People listen because communication is not about perfection, it's about connection. Think about it. Now, let's do one more speaking challenge. Complete these sentences aloud. Number 1, if I become fluent in English, pause. Number 2, the biggest challenge for me is pause. Number 3, starting today, I will pause and beautiful. Sweep those enter because goals become stronger when spoken aloud. Count, short pause. Now imagine the program is ending, people exchange contacts, you look back and could think, I almost didn't but because you said yes, you discovered something, you were more capable than you believed, and English became less scary. Not because fear disappeared, but because you continued anyway. Pause. Here's your challenge before part loc. Today, tell one short story in English, 30 seconds. It can be about your morning, your favorite memory, your goal, anything. Do not aim for perfect. Aim for expression. Okay, because every story you tell builds your voice, short pause, and in the next part, we'll unlock one final shift, how to stop translating in your head and start thinking directly in English. Yeah, that's when speaking begins to feel natural. Welcome back. You've come a long way. And if you've been following along, answering questions, imagining stories, speaking out loud, then something important is already happening. Your brain is slowly becoming more comfortable with English. And now, we're going to talk about one of the biggest struggles English learners face, translating. You hear English. You think in your own language, then translate, then speak. And by the time you're ready, the moment is gone. Sound familiar? Short pause. Here's the good news. You do not need to remove translation overnight. You simply need to reduce it. And stories are one of the easiest ways to do that. Let me show you. Pause. Imagine this. And it's Sunday morning, you decide to go for a walk, you leave your house, the weather feels fresh. You see people jogging, children playing, birds moving across the sky. Now, normally your brain might say, oh, translate everything. But today, try something different. Simply observe and describe. You quietly say, the weather is nice. Pause. There are many people outside. Paused. I feel relaxed. See? No translation, just direct observation. Okay. That's the beginning. Okay, short pause. Now let's enter another story. Imagine you are visiting a new city. You do not know anyone there. You decide to explore. You walk into a small local shop. Okay, the person at the counter smiles and asks, "Yo, can I help you?" Immediately, your old habit appears. Translate, prepare. Check grammar. But this time, you choose differently. You respond simply, "Yes, I'm looking for something to eat." Done. Conversation started. Then they ask, "Yo, would you like something spicy?" You answer, maybe. Yo, yes, I'd like to try something local. Can't. Or, no, something mild, please. Simple, natural, communication, pause. Now think carefully. Did you need advanced English? No. You needed courage to respond. That's all. Think about it. Here's a practice exercise. I'll give you situations. Answer immediately. Do not think too long. Situation 1, someone asks, how was your day? Answer. Pause. Situation 2, someone asks, what are your plans for tomorrow? Answer. Pause. Situation 3, someone asks, what do you enjoy doing? Answer. Pause. Excellent. Even if your answers were short, you're training speed, and speed comes from trust. Trusting yourself to speak. Short pause. Now let me share a small secret. Fluent speakers do not always know perfect words. Sometimes they forget. Sometimes they pause, sometimes they restart sentences, but they continue. That's the difference. They keep moving. Okay, imagine this, like co. Instead of saying, I don't know this word, I don't remember the word, but then explain. Instead of silence, keep communicating. Pause. Let's practice. Repeat. I can explain with simple words. Pause again. I do not stop because of one missing word. Pause. One more time. I keep speaking. Very good. Kim, short pause. Now imagine 6 months from now, you're having a conversation and suddenly you notice something. You answered without translating, you understood naturally, you reacted instantly, and you smile. Because you realize this is the result of all those small stories, all those tiny moments, all those simple practices. Think about it. Language grows quietly, not in one day, not in one perfect lesson, but through repeated experiences. Story after story, conversation after conversation, sentence after sentence, pause. Before we finish this part, here's your challenge. For the next Arsarsif hours, choose one activity, walking, cooking, working, traveling, and describe it in English. In English, only simple sentences. No pressure, just observation. That practice can change the way you think. Short pause. And in the next part, we'll bring everything together and create a final story challenge that helps you speak longer, more naturally, and with more confidence. Welcome back. This is the moment where everything connects. Until now, you've practiced listening, imagining, answering, speaking, thinking directly in English, and now I want to give you one final story challenge. Not because you need to become perfect today, but because I want you to see something important. You already know more English than you think. You just need to use it. Ready? Let's begin. Pause. Imagine this. It's 1 year from today. Yes, 1 year you wake up, you pick up your phone, and you see something unexpected, an email. The subject says, congratulations, you open it, you've been selected for something important, maybe a job opportunity, maybe an interview, maybe travel, maybe a dream you've wanted for years, and there's one condition. The conversation will happen in English. Short pause. Pause for a second. How would the old version of you react? Maybe, I know, I'm not ready, my English isn't good. What if I make mistakes? But now, something's different. Because this time, you remember all the practice, the stories, the speaking, the moments. Sunken, you smile and say, yo, I'll do my best. Pause. The day arrives. You enter the room. Someone welcomes you. And they say, you tell us about yourself. And instead of panic, you begin, not perfectly, but naturally. You speak, you continue. Yo, you explain, and with every sentence, your confidence grows. Think about it. Now, I want you to do this with me. Answers these questions aloud. Question 1. Who are you? Pause. Question 2. What is one goal you want to achieve? Pause. Question 3. Why are you learning English? Pause. Question 4. How will your life improve if you become confident in speaking? Pause. Take your time. These are not just practice questions. These are your future. Short pause. Now let's continue the story. Okay, the interviewer smiles and asks, what helped you improve your English? And your answer becomes, and I stopped trying to be perfect. I started practicing every day. I used stories. I spoke more. Simple. Honest, powerful. Pause, and then the conversation ends. You walk outside, you breathe deeply, and no matter what happens, you realize something, you did it, you spoke. That moment alone is progress. Because fluency is not one big moment. It's thousands of small moments collected over time. Think about it. Now, I want to share one final message with you. Please remember this. You do not need special talent. You do not need expensive courses. You do not need perfect grammar. You need consistency. You need patience. And most importantly, you need to keep using English, one story, one sentence. Make one conversation at a time. Pause. So starting today, tell yourself, I will not wait. I will speak. I will practice. Okay, I will improve. Short pause. Before we finish, here's your final challenge. Open your phone. Record yourself. Speak for 1 minute in English. Tell your own story, how you started, what you struggle with, what you dream about, then save it, come back after 1 month, record again. You will hear the difference. And that moment will surprise you. Pause. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this podcast helped you, keep practicing, keep believing, and keep rising. This is FluentRise Podcast, and your English journey has already started. See you in the next episode.